we've been married for 23 years now, and I want to take the beginning of our relationship where we met kind of on the road.
We did. Our first date was on bicycle.
Yeah, we pushed our bikes and walked.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It was great.
You know, the interesting thing was that when we had met, I walked from Indiana to Florida, and Nikki, although she wanted to,
she had
planned to walk from Michigan to Florida, but ended up having to take a bus to get down there.
But still, at 18, a woman.
Right, 18, single on a bus. You know, 19, me being fresh out of the military, having no real perspective on life other than the places that I had been. You know, I was looking for a way to do something a little bit more adventurous to kind of continue what I'd done in the Marine Corps.
And I'll have you know, Darren promised me that someday we would do this, because when we put it off, we have kids.
Yeah.
We'll get to this age, we want to do this, and it was, honey, I promise you. So
yeah,
this is kind of cool and totally exciting.
Yeah,
we're gonna. I mean, sure, it's not quite the way. Now I'm more like tent, yeah, RV better. Then back in the day, I would have been like, oh, any corner will do.
Under the bridge.
Exactly.
Man, I'm telling you, we slept in ditches. We slept under bridges. Went to all the different homeless shelters. Caught a meal where we could.
You're a traveler person.
When I was a traveler,
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I did the small, not quite the hotel thing.
And all those things, I didn't view it as a hardship at all. I viewed it as the adventurous life that I wanted.
Yeah.
And now, 23 years later, come full circle, we're back at a point where in our life we actually have an opportunity and we can pursue this. So we're excited about that opportunity. I want to walk for 20 miles a day minimum for the next 5 years.
See all of America.
And we're gonna
journal it.
I'm gonna walk for 6 days a week and take 1 day off. So that means that several of the days will be 25 plus miles. So I'll basically be walking a marathon a day. Now I know that the body can handle that. A lot of skeptics will say that the body can't handle that kind of a stress, and the issue is hardening. One of the concepts that I've discovered in nutrition, in good sleep, right, taking into account all the three factors that happen there. There's the work, there's the rest, and there's the nutrition. All three of those have to play a big role. We have to think consistently about those thoughts. So the hardening of the body happens over the course of the first 2 to 3 months that you're on the walk. Now you can train, and you can look up many people who hike. They'll kind of tell you the same story. Over the first 2 to 3 weeks, it's the roughest. And if you haven't done any pre-work, you're going to be blistered all to heck. And it's hard to get through that, but you got to be persistent and push through, because then you get to that point where it kind of breaks. And now all of a sudden you're free to go as far as you want and do as much as you want. And I'm excited to get to that point. But what I know is that I can already walk 15 miles without an issue.
Right.
And we are 8 months away from our launch.
Yeah,
so
estimated.
We've still got a good while for me to train if I wanted to, but I'm not afraid of it at all. I think one of the stories that I tell my patients often, and this is something that we're going to continue to press through the walk, is that I was sitting in there was a short period of my life where I was in the mortgage industry. And in the mortgage industry, I had a job that had me sitting in a cubicle for 8 to 10 hours a day, sparingly getting up, basically just sitting there answering the phone. And so what happened to my body is I actually developed, I was stagnant. Taking it back to that first concept, I was stagnant. And in my stagnation, I actually developed asthma, stress-induced asthma. And what I found out was and I didn't realize this until, again, several years later after it had gone away, because I made it go away. So what happened was the body had kind of come down from that high of being able to do so much on the bike and all the running that I'd done and everything else that we do. And you come down to a point where it sits and stagnates, because that's all you're doing all day long. And it leads to illness. So there's my body with stress-induced asthma. And every time I try to go to sleep, it's like I couldn't get that next breath. So I've been there for those asthmatics that'll hear this. I've been there. I know what it's like to just want to get up and get a cold glass of water just to make the asthma calm down.
Yeah.
Just to get the next breath. Been there. So so there's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is I had to work at Rent-A-Center just after that.
Yeah.
And when I went to work at Rent-A-Center, here I was told, you'll be behind the cash register taking rent monies all day long. And really what happened was I ended up in the back room doing all this furniture putting together, building furniture,
Yeah.
and going out in the truck and delivering as well as picking up and bringing back to the Rent-A-Center office all this furniture from around Indianapolis, all over the place. So basically I was lifting and working hard at lifting all day long, 10-hour days. And what happened to my body over the course of the first 2 to 3 weeks was I was weak as a pin when I first started. But then after 2 or 3, I remember the guy who made a statement to me. He said, "Man, I never want you on my truck again. You're wimpy." And then 2 to 3 weeks later, I had that guy again. We had to go out, and so we're delivering couches. We're picking up washers and dryers. I was moving them up and down steps, a flight of stairs, washers and dryers by myself. Washers, yeah. And we figured out how to maneuver big couches and whatnot, and all of those little fine-tuning things that your body learns a way to. They're called motor planning. Your body learns the way to handle certain heavy items so that it makes it easier to move in and out.
And you went from
I went from
oh my gosh, I want to go again.
I went from this this decayed person with disease processes in me to this guy who could do just anything. I was lifting 31-inch televisions back when they were tubes, the big televisions, on my own. And it wasn't just about a matter of a month's difference between working at the mortgage company and then working at Rent-A-Center. And the difference was motion. The difference was movement. So the more we move, the more alive we are. And so I want to make sure that people understand that, it's not necessarily that this is a hard thing to do. It's that you have to progress into it. You have to understand your pace and feel your body, understand what your body is going through. And what will happen over the course of the first 2 to 3 weeks is the body will start to harden. It won't be until about that 3-month mark that we see a big change, and I'll be able to go 25 to 40 miles on a day, depending.
And 40 is just the beginning, my great-grandpa would tell you. It's not even close to the end.
Yeah, true. I'm 44 years old. And although that's not that old, it's what we used to call over the hill. I think now 40 is the beginning.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, in my profession, I see people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s doing wonderfully, given the 70 or 80 or 90 years prior that they had to live in, and now swinging up to the way that our healthcare system is, the way that our nutrition is, understanding of nutrition.
Yeah. And choosing to eat better.
Right. So those choices will help prolong us even further, and I believe that we will live significantly longer and healthier by making smart decisions.